Hello, everyone. I'm Adam from the D&D Beyond team. That was a little bit of a Jeff reference there. It's good to be with you today. Welcome to And Beyond, our first ever monthly live stream of development updates and community Q&A session. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, so we're going to just dive right in. Let's talk about why we're here. Everyone wants to know the answer to that question. We are informing the community. So we're going to cover our current status, where we are with recent updates, class and race statistics. We've got so much data coming in with all the characters that are being created, so I thought it would be interesting for everyone to get a picture of exactly what's going on in that breakdown. And then we're going to talk about where we're going. We're going to talk about the short-term roadmap. We're going to talk about what's going on with the toolset itself. We're going to talk about upcoming products that are very, very exciting. I don't know if anyone has heard of Thar's Guide to Everything, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our original content that has been coming out on the site daily that we're really excited about. So we're going to give you a glimpse into the future. And of course, we want to leave plenty of time for questions. So feel free to ask questions in the chat all along the way. And I've got someone that's going to help me pay attention to that because it's going to be really hard for me to try to read that while I'm doing this. So we've got someone compiling questions. We will get to that in the end, and we should have plenty of time to cover those. So ask away, and don't be too afraid to pull any punches. We'll see what we get today. All right, moving on. We are also going to be doing something pretty important with a legendary bundle, or perhaps 3 of those today. So we are going to be giving out 3 legendary bundles. We're excited about that. We've had far more people buy this than we thought we would have when we originally started this. We're extremely excited about the amount of people who have early adopted and who have really bought into the platform and made this something that is going to help us continue to be successful far into the future. So we're going to give away 3 of those now, and we're going to go ahead and do one of those right now. The wizards that are behind the scenes right here. Hello, Brian. Brian is going to help us do a giveaway here. I have heard that you have to be active in the chat in some capacity for this to pick you up and understand that you're there. So by all means, give a shout out. Tell your mom that you love her, whatever you need to do, and get something in the chat. And then this thing will work its magic, all this devilry behind the scenes, and we're going to have a winner pretty shortly here. Should we count down? Perhaps. All right, so we're going to do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The winner is Kerrigan. Congratulations. You have won a legendary bundle. So what is going to happen? We've got your name recorded. You are in the annals of history. And after we complete the live stream, we will be sure to direct message you here on Twitch. So please pay attention to those direct messages. We will get the information. If you happen to already be a legendary owner, then we will allow you to gift that to a friend. So all we're going to need is a Twitch ID. So when that happens, be looking for that direct message. We're going to give away 2 more of these as we go along. So hang in there. So let's talk about where we are. We've gotten several questions across our forums, social media, everywhere, asking how we're doing. We're not going to reveal any numbers for you today. We obviously can't talk about things like revenue and all of those business terms, but we are off to a good start. Beta testing truly did remarkable things for us. I think that everyone who has been here all along the way has seen that we are listening to the community. We are listening to the feedback that you're giving. Beta testing for those many months that we did that was incredibly valuable. We're going to continue taking that approach as we roll out new features. We're going to allow you to use those features. We're going to listen to that feedback. So beta testing cannot be overemphasized at how important that was for us. As far as our start, we have exceeded our expectations. That's about the limit of what I can say, but we have exceeded our expectations, which is very, very good thing for us going forward. It means that we are going to be able to be in this for the long haul. We're going to be able to continue to improve on this digital tool set. We're going to be able to continue to deliver all this original content that we're so excited about. All right, next, a solid foundation. Most of what we have been doing to this point has been broad strokes. We have been trying to digitize a rule set that, even though 5th edition is much less complicated than some of the previous editions of the game perhaps, it still has thousands and thousands of rules, and then it has exceptions to those rules. And so what we've been really setting out to do is to make a really strong, broad stroke at what the functionality is, and to give players something that they can use and begin to give us that feedback for. And so we're doing that back and forth, and I think we've got a really solid foundation in place. And as we move forward, we're going to continue to build off of that. We're going to continue to spread that out and fill that in, and it's going to truly be something great. Telling the story of D&D. I think that everyone has seen the videos that I think that since we have brought Todd Kenrick on board, I don't think we've had a single work day that we have not had a new video of some sort on the website. He is really killing it, and we're happy to have him on board. We're happy to be able to share this type of content with the community. We think that this is incredibly important. Dungeons & Dragons is taking off. It is in the zeitgeist. I love that word because it just describes what's going on with D&D. And we want to tell the story of what's going on with it. We are excited. We are passionate about this game. And so what we're trying to do with D&D Beyond and all this original content is to give you access to things that you might not otherwise have access to. We're going to interview the creators. We're going to continue to do interesting, cool things there. And we're excited to share that with you. We're off to a great start with that. And then the Epic community. We have an incredible community. We have hundreds of thousands of users at this point that are visiting the site. We have people that are actively engaged in our forums. We have poured through literally thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly up to 1 million posts in the forums, collecting your feedback, hearing from you, sharing your love of Dungeons & Dragons. This community is incredible, and we are really happy that you guys are along with us for this ride. So now let's talk about our current status and where we are with the latest updates, what we have rolled out most recently. We have most recently put out a backgrounds revamp. Many of you know that when we started with backgrounds, since backgrounds are so customizable, one of the things that we had to do early to provide a workaround and make sure that people could create what they wanted to create was to open backgrounds up a little bit more than they should be and allow that to be more of a table decision about how you would handle that background. So we have rolled out an update recently where we are actually granting the proper skill proficiencies and tool proficiencies and languages as the published backgrounds should be doing. And then also from there, we've allowed you, instead of allowing all backgrounds to be customized in that way, we've provided you a single path to customize your background. So we're allowing you to do that. You can choose which skills are going with that background. You can give it a name. You can give it a description. So all of that is in place now. I encourage you to go try that out. We also have heard the feedback that people want to see suggested characteristics and an easy, simple way to add that to your ability to show that and display that on your character. And so we have added that as well. We're going to continue to keep an eye on backgrounds and see what we need to do from there. We also heard the community loud and clear on the changelog. So during beta, we were moving with such a rapid pace. We were fixing things. Literally, sometimes I could come in and see commit messages from our developers that were 50 lines long in a single day, where we were attacking bugs, we were changing things, we were changing the way that things worked, and we got used to really moving in a very rapid environment. And one thing that we weren't doing well was letting you know exactly what was being changed. We knew at that point in time that we had a little bit of a buy because it was beta, but we are no longer in beta. And so we have added a changelog, and we are going to really commit ourselves to making sure that we communicate what is changing, because we do know that this can impact characters and impact your experience at the table. So we are going to begin adding everything that we possibly know of as a major update to this changelog going forward. and we're excited about that. Let's share some information now. Before we go there, though, Brian. Oh, take it off. Nobody saw that. Nobody screenshot. I would like to ask chat, see who is going to be correct about this, is what race do you think is the most played, or let's say just most created race on D&D Beyond? What do we think that this is? Yes, it was leaked. The chart was leaked. So what do we think that the number one race is? So I see a lot of humans. We've got half-elves, tiefling. Wow, someone's way off. Dragonborn, way off. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it. We've got some interesting data. You can see that human is dominating, which it looks like a lot of people have affinity for humans, which is good since we live in the world that we do, where really all there is humans, I suppose. But outside of that, we've got a lot of people that want to play elves. We've got half-elves. Very interesting data here. Dragonborn are actually a little bit higher than you would imagine. And then we start getting down into some of the newer races. Now, this is going to be skewed somewhat because some of those newer races, like, for instance, the Turtles, I would expect Turtles next month, if I show you this, they would be probably the entire donut at this point. But the Turtles are not going to be represented here yet. But I do encourage you to check them out. Absolutely love shell defense and everything else that's going on with them. Humans are by far the most created race that we have currently on D&D Beyond. So start all the battles about which race is better right now. Let's talk about classes before you go there, though. All right. What do we think is the most created class? This one's maybe a little bit harder. Let's see how it goes. What is the most played class? Anyone who gets it right might get a cookie. Not for me, but you might get one at some point. All right, I'm seeing virtually everything here. So, I mean, at least, 100 of you are wrong, probably. All right, so let's see what is the most played class. It is the fighter. So historically, in every edition of the game, the most played combination, based on the data that anyone has ever been able to collect, has been a human fighter. And so that is what we see holding true in D&D Beyond, with well over 500,000 characters. I'm not sure exactly how close we are to 1 million at this point, but we've got very large sample size, and we see that human fighter definitely wins out. And even that combination, when you look at them aggregated like that, that does play out as the lead. We've got rogues and wizards in second and third place. And before we ever launched, before we had a character builder that people could use, this was my prediction that I'd written down, and I actually got all of the classes right. I did not get all the races right, but I got the first 3 races right. So it's very interesting to start seeing this data. We're going to continue to give you a sneak peek into how that data is playing out. One last question. I don't have a fancy chart for this, but what would you imagine is the most selected spell? So that would be, if you are a bard or a sorcerer or a warlock, which spell is being chosen the most as a known spell, and which spell is being prepared the most for those other spellcasting classes. What would you imagine that would be? Okay, I see a correct answer in here. It is absolutely Cure Wounds, which means that apparently this is a game that requires a great deal of healing. So Cure Wounds is the most chosen spell that we currently have in all the characters that have been created on D&D Beyond. So thanks for playing that. Like I said, you might get a cookie at some point. All right, moving on. Where we're going. Let's take a look at that. So upcoming features, and of course this is where people are really interested. They want to see what is happening with D&D Beyond. We have been moving rapidly all the way through beta, and here post-launch we're really getting our hands dirty and trying to make some incredible things happen. And so in the near future, what we are going to be focused on, because of the thousands and thousands of posts of feedback, we will be looking at character builder and sheet improvements. Much of this is going to be very, very minor changes that are going to result in improved quality of life. So right now, currently, what the development team is working on is we are addressing starting equipment and making sure that that is easy to select and very, very straightforward, especially for newer players. All of that will be fixed hopefully the next 2 to 3 weeks, but again, this is development. We don't know exactly what's going to go wrong, so we're going to say that that's what we're trying to target in the next few weeks here. Starting equipment, fixing equipment packs where you when you equip those, you will get those expanded out in your inventory and you know what the exact items are. And then after that, the next big thing that we will be working is the ability to copy a character. So if you have a character that is currently 5th level and you want to dream and you want to theorize what that character would look like at 10th level, you can create a copy of that character, and then you can just go from there and start increasing levels and start playing with things. From there, we're going to allow the ability to transfer characters. I know a lot of dungeon masters would like the ability to be able to, within a campaign, create a character. I've done this for years and years where someone's new to the game. It's difficult for them to understand exactly what they're doing and how to play. And so essentially, the dungeon master can create the character, and then it would be a situation where the dungeon master could transfer that to another user in the campaign, and then they can play the character, and then they would have ownership of that character. So we are going to be doing that in the very near future as well. And then from kind of the rest of that, what we're really going to focus on is being sure that we, as I said, we've got a solid foundation in place, but we're going to continue to cover the very specific exceptions to the rules that exist. So we're going to continue to go across and really spread that really, really wide. And anywhere that we're not able to do a fair enough job, something that we really want to do with covering those exceptions, this is where we're going to be building in the ability to customize those areas in order for you, if we can't cover that really, really small detail that you're wanting for your character, you should be able to customize that and do it yourself. So that is our philosophy, and that's what we're going to be working on in the near future. And then we are in the middle of the design and trying to conceptualize a really big revamp for the character sheet and the character builder, and we're going to take a look at that in just a moment, a deeper look at that. We also have a mobile app that is in development. I'm really excited about the mobile app. We've got incredible things that are happening here. Really looking forward to being able to release that. The core component of the mobile app, the thing that we've been looking to do really more than anything, because we heard this loud and clear from the community day one, day zero maybe, when a little bit of it leaked. We started hearing, hey, I go to conventions. I do not have Wi-Fi. I know how it is at Origins. Wi-Fi is a challenge. I know how it is sometimes in the deep, dark basement and how Wi-Fi is difficult to have sometimes. So our mobile app is going to be focused on making sure we provide the ability to play and do everything that you need to do on D&D Beyond offline. And we're going to start that very specifically with the Compendium content. So our imagined first release of this is going to give you access to the books themselves offline and on the mobile app. And then from there, we will continue to increase the reach of what that's doing and to cover more of the things that are available on the site, starting with things like our listings and the advanced filtering that's available there, and then eventually moving into the actual character management piece of this. So we are going to take a very intentional approach with how we're releasing this mobile app. The very first swing at this is going to allow you to access the material that you can access in the books and the sources that you've unlocked offline and available on the mobile device. And then we will continue to move forward from there. We'll continue to accept feedback. Part of what will happen with the mobile app is we will also see some updates come to the website itself, particularly in the Compendium content. We've heard the feedback about some of the navigation challenges that we currently have with our Compendium content, how difficult it is maybe to get around in some of those areas. These books are really, really dense. We're taking hundreds and hundreds of pages and trying to put this into a web style for you to be able to access easily. And we've heard that that's not as easy easy to access as we want it to be, and so we're going to address that both in the mobile app, and then those changes will hopefully carry over with some really good improvements for the website itself. So the mobile app we're excited about. Homebrew, we are going to allow you to homebrew races and subclasses and backgrounds and feats. We are going to start with backgrounds. We are hoping that that will be available in the next few weeks. We are really trying to squeeze this in with the resources that we have. Since we have done the backgrounds revamp, one of the things that you can't do is you can't actually customize a background feature. And so with this homebrew ability, I just made up a word, homebrew ability, with being able to do that for backgrounds, you will be able to completely and entirely customize your background feature. If you've come up with a new one as a dungeon master, or if one of your players has done that, you can come up with that. You can use that background in the builder and in the sheet. And then from there, we will move to feats, because those are pretty low-hanging fruit for us. They'll be pretty easy to accomplish, so we'll move to feats, and then we will go into races and subclasses. You will see, and I'm going to be pretty clear about this here today, you will see that we do not have classes on this list. So it is not just, it's going to be just subclasses, at least at this point in time. I hope everyone can understand that creating a core class, a base class, is something that literally happened over years of playtesting for D&D Next and everything that became 5th edition. And so as a result of that, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to code base classes and allow that kind of customization at this point in our life cycle. And so we are going to focus on subclasses. We also happen to feel and agree that many of the base classes really cover the broad strokes of these different archetypes that that people want to play. And so we are going to focus on the base classes, on subclasses tying into those base classes. And in the future, one of the things that we would like to do, and we'll see about when this can happen, is perhaps poll the community and see, okay, which base classes out of popular homebrew or that you just have been using in your own game, what are these classes and what would you like to see? And we'll get those in front of the community and maybe have some type of voting to allow us to understand and let some of these really good homebrew base classes bubble up to the surface. And our intention at that point is maybe we can code for a subset of those potentially thousands of base classes that are being created. So that's our strategy here. We will be adding these new homebrew elements very, very soon. I want to talk about stream integration as well. We've gotten several questions about this. We sent out a sizzle reel back during Tomb of Annihilation. This is something we're incredibly excited about as part of the Twitch family. We have an incredible opportunity to release a Twitch extension that can do some incredible overlay type content during a D&D stream, and so this is a priority for us, and we're trying to find the right resources that we can really dedicate to make sure this happens. So it's very close to the top of the list, and we're working through it. No ETA at this point, but definitely know that this is something that is pretty high on our list, because even if you do not stream Dungeons & Dragons, the percentage of the player base that actually stream this content is pretty low. Looking at the numbers, the percentage of people that watch this content and engage with that content is far higher than that. And so we really think that stream integration can be something that will make Dungeons & Dragons streams far more interactive and more enjoyable. You won't have to watch Critical Role cycle through, eventually getting to Grog's character statistics. You could have that on demand. That's the kind of thing we're talking about, and that's the kind of thing that we are looking to deliver with that. So more updates as soon as we have more information there. And then finally, encounter and monster building is something that is really important to us, and we want to get to this as soon as we are able to get past shoring up our foundations with character management. It's really important for us to get that right, because everything that happens with character management in the builder and the sheet is going to completely propagate throughout the rest of any other tool that we ever build, including encounters and monsters. And so that's the reason we're focusing on really making that as strong as it possibly can be in the short term, and then we're going to move on to exciting things like encounter and monster building building, and then from there we will eventually get to the holy grail of combat tracking and all the automation that we know we can deliver. It's just going to take a matter of time. So those are really key features that we're working on. I do want to make it clear that we are fully aware that we will never move as fast as the community would like us to move. I wish that I could hire 30 developers tomorrow and we could make this all happen 30 times faster. It's going to be a little bit of a long road here, and I want to be very clear about that. The thing that you do have from us and the commitment that you have is that we are going to tackle it. We're going to continue to move quickly as we've demonstrated in the past, and we're going to continue to make this better and better as we go along. I'll get off my soapbox there. All right, let's take a look at the character sheet revamp. I think that this circulated around Twitter last week or maybe a week before that. So I'm sure many of you have probably seen this, but we're really excited about the direction that this is headed. I want to give the disclaimer that this is incredibly early design that is definitely not final. There's nothing that's final about this, but this is going to give you an idea of the direction that we're headed in. So the goals that we have had for this new revamp is that it is entirely feedback focused. We have had thousands and thousands of posts directly about the character sheet itself and about the character builder, and I have personally read every single one of those, and we've been compiling that feedback, and we've been measuring that feedback against other feedback that we're receiving and some of our other sources of feedback outside of the forums. We're measuring that against what the vision for the game is intended to be, and we think that we're coming up with a really good swing at this revamp that is going to really accomplish some great things. It is going to finally provide proper desktop views. As we've said early on, much of our development is a mobile-first mentality, that we want to get this right on the phone as much as we can, and then we move into desktop and expand into that. One of the things that we wanted to do is we knew that with something this big and something this important to the tool set, that we were going to end up having more changes that would happen after we initially got something out here. And so we didn't want to spend and potentially waste time on really filling out those desktop views without making sure that we've got the experience that we want to have on mobile and then build out from there. So this is one of the things we're excited about. We're going to provide proper desktop views. From there, we're going to utilize the space more. You can see that in our current character sheet that we do have a great deal of white space in sections that may not apply to your character quite enough. And so with this revamp, we're going to focus on really utilizing the space, and it's going to make it far more dense and maybe more difficult for this to really play out in modern web design, where modern web design, you have so many areas for your eyes to rest and big padding and big font sizes. Ultimately, for a D&D game, we've heard the feedback that that is not the direction that we need to go in order to make this the most useful that it can be at the table. And so we are going back to adding more condensed information in a smaller way. We're going to really try to maintain accessibility and make sure that we're still making these font sizes big enough that they are readable, but we do want to utilize our space more, and that's really important to us. And then we do want to give better at-a-glance information capability. Right now, we have collapsibles in several places of the site where we have a snippet of information, and then you can expand a collapsible to see the full description of this. The interesting thing that we've run into as we got this out into the community is that people are they're used to character sheets, normal paper character sheets, and they're used to the information that they could see at a glance on those sheets, and they are not always interested in that full description. And so since we are able to provide that full description and all the things that can come with that, we have that ability and that capability to do that. We want to give you that at-a-glance information, but then allow you to still see that full description without having to turn to a book or even search elsewhere on the site. We want to give you that in context. And so as part of that, we are removing the collapsibles, and we are going to go to more of a pop-up system, and it's going to be, we're going to have some options to be able to allow those pop-ups to be sticky, stay on the screen, or if you click out, they go away. So we're going to a system that is capable for you to go and see those full descriptions very easily and close at hand, but then you will still see the information that you want to see at a glance quickly and easily. And then finally, we're going to allow for more ad hoc customization. You can see on skills here that since the rules do support the concept of using your strength modifier for an intimidation check, for instance, if that is the agreement that you have with your dungeon master, that typically your half-orc barbarian is not going to use charisma for an intimidation skill check, then you can edit that in the revamp that we're going for here, and we're going to allow that to be possible. As part of this revamp, we will also be providing a read-only version of these characters that can be shared. So you'll be able to share that character on social media, and people can go and see it. You'll be able to share builds and you know, your interesting theories, your backstories, everything with that character. You will be able to share that when we get to this point as well, because we will have the read-only views and capability at that point in time. And then finally, it looks like a character sheet. We want to provide a familiar feel for people that have played the game for 40 plus years. We want to provide that. Character sheets have worked for a very long time, and what we want to focus on is refining this to where we can leverage what a character sheet does, but then still offer that incredible ability that we have to show these descriptions when you need them, where you don't have to flip through books. You can have it all there at hand. Another quick note, we will add several things that I don't have time to talk about today, but we will have the ability, one of the things that we're really keen on and want to make happen is we want to see, if you don't like that gold color that we're seeing there, we want to allow for theme colors where you can change those frame colors and everything else. We're going to continue to provide as much customization as we possibly can, because these are your characters and you like to customize, and we want you to be able to customize. So that's important to us as well. So I hope you've enjoyed a very brief sneak peek at what we're doing with the character sheet. We're terribly excited about it. We are going to be working on that, and obviously we have no ETA. I can't give you dates today, but it is really important to us, and we're going to be working to get this out as soon as we can. All right, now continuing where we're going, let's talk about an important product called Thar's Guide to Everything. We are incredibly excited about this. We have seen it. We have started digitizing it. We have started doing all sorts of things with this that are really making us smile. So it is the first major expansion for 5th edition D&D. It has new rules and story options. I'm sure you've heard of it, but if you haven't, there are over 25 new subclasses, dozens of new spells, racial feats. There's even a system to give your character a randomized backstory, and new rules options to use traps, magic items, and so on. We wanted to let everyone know here today that we are fully supporting Thar's out of the gate. So as soon as it is available, we will have all of the subclasses. We will have all of the new rules and elements included. We will also be including this interesting system to generate random backstories for your character. We will have the ability for you to do that in the character builder. And so you can go through and use that to really flesh out your character. You can use it to give yourself ideas. More previews of that will be coming out soon, but we are ultimately saying that we will be supporting this in D&D Beyond as soon as it is released. We're very excited about that. Also, pretty big announcement today. We have now opened. You can go to the website right now. I hope that links are going to fly around in chat magically somewhere. I can cast a spell and make that happen. But you can go and pre-order Thar's Guide to Everything right now on D&D Beyond. So if you want to have it available as soon as it is released on midnight of the date, then you can go pre-order it, and then you can stay up late and you can build that new character that you wanted to build. So by all means, go check that out. We're really excited for those pre-orders to be available. Check them out there and lock in your purchase. All right, I'm going to get moving. How am I doing on time? We're okay. We're fine. We got time. All right, upcoming original content. continuing the theme of where we're going with D&D Beyond. We're going to continue to tell the story of D&D. As I said, that's really important to us. We are going to have these monthly live stream development updates. So you'll get tired of me at some point, but I will come in monthly and let you know. I think that's going to end up being the third Friday of every month. We're working out the schedule with Wizards of the Coast there, but I think that's when it's going to be. Keep an eye out for that. And we'll come in, we can field questions, we can give you an update on what's going on with us monthly. Xanathar's Guide to Everything previews. We're terribly excited about this. We're going to have the ability to give some video previews of new subclasses and spotlight the new subclasses that are coming out in the book, the new spells and feats, and more. So keep an eye in the next couple of months on our homepage, on our YouTube channels, on our Twitch channel about Xanathar's Guide to Everything content that's going to be coming your way. We're going to be deep diving on some of these things and talking about the design intent behind some of these new subclasses. We're going to even try to get to the point of why did this subclass maybe not make the cut? Like what's the design intent behind it and what's going on with that? So really exciting content, and we're looking forward to get that to you. We're also going to be working on class and race deep dives. So we're going to be creating evergreen content that when you're browsing D&D Beyond, when you're creating a character, you'll have the ability to pop videos out that are talking about the paladin that you're thinking about creating. It's going to talk about what was the design philosophy behind this version of the paladin in 5th edition. What's the history of the paladin throughout all the editions of the game? What is the paladin? What kind of role is the paladin trying to fill? And then rules and role-playing tips from not only the creators of the game, but we're going to be trying to get people in the community, some of the popular people that we're used to watching week in and week out, to talk about these different classes. We're going to try to do the same for races. So we've got a lot of ambitious content that's going to be coming out in the coming months that we're really excited about. And then I think that many of you probably saw our feature on the most recent Unearthed Arcana playtest content that was released for the Eladrin and the Gith races. We're going to continue to do this as Wizards of the Coast is releasing playtest material. We want to be able to spotlight and have a feature on D&D Beyond that is letting the designers explain what's going on behind those races in this case, or whatever that rules element is. So we're really excited about providing that type of news and feature as well going forward. All right, I'm taking a breath. All right, so then from there, I think it's time to give a legendary bundle out again. So let's maybe make that happen. So if you are lurking and you have not typed into Twitch chat at this point, you need to make that happen, because we are about to give away legendary bundle number 2. And when that happens, you've got to type something in here for our magic thing to find it out. So let's see. We're going to give a countdown. Type. Everyone's typing. We're going to do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. WWPD Steven, you are a winner. We are recording your information. Be looking for a direct message from the D&D Beyond channel, and we will give you instructions on how to claim your legendary bundle. Another thing that I failed to note earlier, because I wanted to save the thunder to be able to lay down the thunder when I talked about Xanathar's Guide to Everything, is that this version of the legendary bundle includes Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So now that pre-orders are available, that is part of the legendary bundle. So congratulations on all of that. All right. I think we have left ample time for some Q&A. Let's jump to it. So because we have used our forums to collect some questions ahead of time, I want to show favoritism here and actually read off some of the questions that we've had from our forums and provide some answers. These are probably questions that a lot of you would be asking in Twitch chat anyway, so I am going to try to rapid fire go through some of these that we received in our forums. Before next month's and beyond live stream, be sure to check out the forums, and our moderators will be sure to have a post up that is collecting questions. We can probably leave that up forever, and we can collect questions for each month. in the live stream, and I will do my best to cover these for the things that I can answer. So, first of all, are we ever going to be able to buy more campaign character slots? I'm really confused about this one, to be honest, because I have never played in a campaign with more than 12 characters. I have actually played in a campaign with 12 characters, but our current maximum is 12, and I've never played with more than that. It almost seems like it's maybe not Dungeons & Dragons once you get past that point, but if this is something that the community is looking for, absolutely we can look at potentially providing that in the future. I think maybe the question is possibly more intended to say, are we ever going to be able to buy more campaign slots where you can have more than 3 campaigns? And the answer to that is yes. We just are not to that yet, and we're not able to support that at this point in time. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Got a question about permanent solutions. This is not something that we currently have any plans to provide a permanent solution. Wild shape. This was a really good one. How is wild shape going to work when we get around to that? You notice that that wasn't on the list earlier. It's not that we're not going to try to get to that pretty soon as well. We've got someone, one of our developers in the office. Hi, Pasquale. Pasquale is currently playing a druid, and I literally hear every single day from him that he wants to work on wild shapes where we can make sure that his character has what he needs in order to play the game. So we are going to add a wild shape section. We will also have a companion section that you can add things like the Ranger's Animal Companion, or you can add a familiar, for instance. Or if you just like pets and you want to grab a husky and you want that husky to follow you everywhere, you could actually choose that animal and be able to have its stats represented in the character sheet. What we are planning to do with wild shape, again, this is not final, but we would love for you to be able to hit a button, wild shape, and you change into the bear, and your portrait is perhaps replaced, and the actual statistics on the sheet are updated accordingly. So that is absolutely the plan. We're going to swing for the fences with what we're doing with wild shape. Excellent question. Unearthed Arcana content. I know this one's big. I can't talk about 100% exactly how this is going to work or a timeline. I can tell you that we are absolutely having the discussions, and we have every intent to include playtest material in D&D Beyond. We know that this can be extremely valuable for playtesting. The data that we could collect on that and the ability to point people to the surveys that Wizards of the Coast put out is incredible. And so we have every intention to provide Unearthed Arcana content, and we'll see what happens after Xanathar's Guide to Everything to make that happen. Adventurers League and DDAL modules. This is something we would love to do at some point in the future. We have many updates planned for Adventurers League. We are going to have the ability to, first of all, we'll take this in stages. So the first things that we'll do is we'll provide the ability to filter out sources at a global level on your characters, where you can make sure that you're complying with the Source +1 rules of Adventurers League. We will have other types of verification to make sure that you're using point buy, ability score totals. All of those things we will provide as a validation element, that when you're starting creation of a character, you can flag that as an AL compliant character, and then we will have some kind of like royal seal looking like badge that will be near your character's name that will be able to allow you to show your phone or your tablet or even your PDF to an Adventurers League Dungeon Master, and they can see at a glance that unless you're really, really good at hacking things, you are probably compliant with Adventurers League rules. And so that's going to be easier for Dungeon Masters, easier for the players. Those are some of the early steps that we will get to. I don't have an ETA for that, but we have every intention of tackling that as soon as we possibly can. And from there, we want to do some interesting things. Like we want to see how we can do incorporate log sheets and everything else into D&D Beyond. So I love Adventurers League. Organized play is an incredible thing for the game. I love the game, and so therefore we are going to absolutely support Adventurers League as much as we possibly can. Homebrew non-SRD content. Currently, if you are creating a copy of an item for Homebrew, you are not able to select anything that doesn't exist in the SRD. And I'll be completely transparent here. The biggest reason that we have that is we're trying to prevent people from just making copies of non-SRD content and then sharing that content with people that might not have that content unlocked. we have ways that we can work around this, and so we absolutely want to allow people to make copies that can be shared privately with people in their campaign at some point in the future. No ETA on that, but we have every intent to do it. Another question that we get with Homebrew quite a bit that I actually did not expect very much of is, are we going to allow you to homebrew mundane or normal gear and equipment items? Everybody wants a katana. Everybody wants a base equipment item. And if I was your dungeon master, I would tell you to use a longsword and maybe use it two-handed every now and then. But we also don't want to stifle creativity and customization. And so if we continue to get this kind of feedback that that's something that the community wants, we will absolutely look into that and see what we can do. Compendium navigation improvements. I mentioned this earlier in regards to our mobile app. The mobile app is going to let us do some incredible things with that, and so we will absolutely have some improvements coming to the compendium. We've heard you loud and clear that it would be much easier to have a table of contents that has every single chapter in the source that you're looking at. If it's an adventure, you can see every chapter and be able to jump between the chapters easily and quickly, possibly be able to go left and right, arrows and all kinds of navigation improvements. We definitely intend to do that. We're going to always try to improve our link anchors. So we have a lot of hypertext information in all of these books. You've seen this. I think it's incredibly useful where we're tooltipping and where we're linking to other areas. We want to continually improve that. There is just a lot of that content. And so we have done the best job that we can at current to try to accommodate as much of that as we possibly can. If you see broken links, if you see places that are an opportunity for a link, I encourage you to go to the forums because we do get to that. In fact, I fixed some links before I came in here this morning, and so we will be doing that. So by all means, continue to share that with us on the forums, and we'll get to that stuff. Mobile app. Got questions about this. I shared a lot about this, but one of the other questions centered around cost structure. And I cannot reveal all the details of that by any means yet, but I will tell you that the intent is that anything that goes on with D&D Beyond is device agnostic. So if you are on the website and you purchase and unlock content, if you have subscriptions, every intention is for that to also transfer to the mobile device. I can't imagine a world where that would not be the case. So as far as cost goes, I can't get into all of that, but just know that that is the intention, that we are just trying to provide another platform for you to be able to use this content and these features. I got a question about hot ones on YouTube, and I don't think that I'm being too risque in saying hot ones on YouTube, because it is talking about chicken wings, and it's some kind of challenge that I had to look up, and the answer to that is no, I am not ever doing that. However, I will say that chicken wings might be my favorite specific item of food, and I am probably eating that tonight when I get done here. So chicken wings are happening, but they are going to be mild. They will definitely not be too hot. Metric conversion. We would love to do something with metrics. We are going to continue to see where the feedback comes in on this. At the moment, the stance that we're likely to continue forward is that we're going to do what Wizards of the Coast is doing. And so Wizards of the Coast in D&D uses the U.S. system for measurements. And so we're going to continue to do that, but we'll definitely keep an eye on the feedback. Campaign management. This was a big question. I'm sure many of you have this question. Where is campaign management falling? It wasn't specifically listed in some of the parts of what I went through in our short-term roadmap. And the answer to that is we have every intention to do something with campaign management. We have engaged in the forums. We've gotten hundreds of posts of feedback about campaign management itself, what that entails, what people are looking for. We are compiling that feedback. As you can see, we've very intentionally waited for a lot of the feedback to come in on the character sheet and the character builder, and we are now acting on that feedback after we've been able to really absorb the feedback, make sure that it's the right thing for the game and for the community, and now we're acting on that feedback. We're going to continue to use that same approach with campaign management. So I assure you, it is not forgotten. It is something that if I am able to talk our company into hiring 30 more people, we'll get to that much quicker. But we will be getting to that as soon as we possibly can get to it. But we don't want to make hasty decisions in implementing something that is not the most impactful thing that we can for campaign management. So we are continuing to have discussions about this on a weekly basis. We're trying to plan and we're trying to conceptualize exactly how all that will work. I hope that I have more to share with you about that in the coming months. All right, that's everything from the forums. Now, we're going to take some chat questions. Okay, so we got a question about changes to the campaign editor. I am assuming with that you're not maybe talking about campaign management as a whole, which is a huge, huge thing, but possibly the actual editor that is in place currently. And the answer to that is yes. We would like to do some simple quality of life changes for that, so we're going to try to get to that as quickly as we can. All right, so Rogue Knight Arturus asked, are there plans for a DM override to allow them to add feats and skills to a character in their campaign outside the normal leveling progression? This is a great question. The character sheet revamp will absolutely resolve that. So the thing that we keep hearing is, again, many of your dungeon masters are far more giving than I would be, but you're just giving out feats like candy, and you're allowing people to get extra feats, and I just don't know what's going on. But we are absolutely going to support your ability to have new skills that you make up to allow you to have extra feats or ability score increases above what you would have in the rules as written. That will be included in the character sheet revamp. Will Knight 3 asked, well, it's a suggestion actually, not a question. Party funds, transfer items between party members. This is on the list. Part of what we're setting up for our equipment changes currently are going to be containers, and we're not going to be able to release containers immediately with the starting equipment changes, but we're laying the groundwork for that. And when we do full-blown container capability, part of that is to be able to have a bag of holding that the party shares. So all of that is definitely on the list. Let's see. Cranky Zergling, love that name, want to see printer-friendly monster blocks. This is a great one. It's something we're looking into. We've heard the feedback pretty loud and clear that our current layout of monster statistics, since it doesn't match the normal monster manual stat block, and people have gotten used to that, we are going to be changing that to be more like what you see in the monster manual, even in our listings content. So that is something that we are currently working on that you'll see hopefully within a few weeks here begin to roll out, and we would love to make those a little more printer-friendly. Reward integrate. This is let's see, Grand Pyromania. Sound like my son. DM reward. Oh, that one's gone. It just got deleted right in front of me. That's okay though. Salonen the Hunter. At D&D Beyond, is the encounter builder and combat tracking going to make it easier for groups to play remotely? I would imagine it would make it easier for anyone to play anywhere, remotely or at the table. So I'm going to answer that as yes. I've got to hurry. I've only got like 8 minutes. Then we got, hopefully the mobile app is not just iOS. It is absolutely not just iOS. It is Android and iOS. Warrior Kane. What would be your dream epic level 20th? Oh, this is nice. This is not about D&D Beyond specifically. I'm going to just use the rest of the time to answer this one because I feel like that guy that's on the pile of the treasure that all the skeleton... No, I'm just joking. Yeah, that guy. But ultimately, I would probably play a bard for 18 levels, 2 levels of warlock, and I would be like the master mage because of jack of all trades and all of that. I would be able to counter spell and dispel magic and all of those things. I would be like a mage's mage. That's probably my dream 20th level character. I want my dungeon master to go ahead and get us to 20th level. All right. How is the Minion familiar pet sheet coming? The answer to that is we have whiteboarded this and we understand exactly how we're going to do it, but we have not started development on it yet. But again, I hope that that's soon. Mini terrain domain, domain maybe, unless that's a misspelling. Is there any plans to add a VTT element? And the answer to that is... not at this current time. We do not have any plans to introduce a virtual tabletop currently. We would love to integrate as much as possible with some of the other partners out there, Fantasy Grounds and Roll20. We're going to be looking for ways to do that. Will you be adding book page numbers as references in the data? We have not focused on that initially because it is a little counterintuitive when you have a site that is not focused on page numbers, right? So that's why we haven't started there, but we have heard this feedback, and we're going to continue to look at that and see if that's something that we can add over time. We might have to hire some folks to come in and enter those page numbers in for us. So we'll see what happens. James V 1971. What about offline mode as a Windows app for Windows tablets? We do not have any current plans for this to be a Windows app, but we would love to continue to hear feedback. Lazorn, put ability scores first in the character creator so I can multi-class directly without needing to go back. That's a great question. Part of the revamp, we've shown you a little bit of what's going on with the character sheet, haven't shown you anything with the builder. Part of that revamp is offering additional ways to go through the flow of character creation, and we've heard loud and clear that ability scores, I've done that myself for 20 plus years. I do ability scores first, so we're going to allow you to do that in the newer versions. Let's see. What else we got? Wolven Hunter. So are homebrew races in the plans? You might have missed the first part of the stream, but they absolutely are, and we hope that we get to them in the next several weeks. Let's see. Portal Jacker at D&D Beyond. Is this app D&D reader? I can't share too much about all that now, but what I can say is that we are definitely releasing a mobile app, and it is a major, major priority for us, and we're working really hard on it, and it's going to provide books that you want to read offline, and we'll see how that goes. Anything else? All right, hyper imaginative. Will there be a Kindle Fire OS version of the app? I don't have anything I can share on that front yet. I actually don't know is the answer to that one. Any other questions? We've got 4 minutes. All right, I might take another question or two, but we're going to go ahead and give away Legendary Bundle number 3. Legendary Bundle number 3. If you have not been finger whacking in the Twitch chat, by all means do so now, because that's how we notice you. That's how we enter you to win. And I am going to count this down from 5 as I have the other 2 times. Brian is ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winner is Brian Devine. You have won. Congratulations. And congratulations to all of our winners of Legendary Bundles today. Again, I will reiterate, that does include Xanathar's Guide to Everything content as soon as it's available. So congratulations for everyone there. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing today. Let's see. I have 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions until this is over with. Let's see. Development API. It looks like we've gotten several questions about that. This is something we definitely want to do. I would love to be able to have third-party integration kind of across the board. I'd love for people to be able to create custom character sheets that can consume the character content and data at some point. It is definitely on the roadmap. It's something that we're looking at how we can most effectively make that available for the community. For instance, I'm using Sirenscape for music tonight. I've gotten too busy, and I haven't done some of the incredible things that that this can do. I should have probably at some point, gotten really excited when people won the Legendary Bundle. But I would love to do something with Sirenscape and some type of integration there. The list is going to go on and on about places that we would like to integrate. So, by all means, we want to continue to hear what the demand is for an API that is available to the community, and we'll see what we can do. Let's see. Brian's, a lot of W's. Would love to hear you talk about how you plan to balance great features and the tipping point of feature bloat where the UI becomes difficult to use. That's a great question. So how do you add more features but then make sure that the simplicity and the ease of use is maintained? This is a difficulty with any type of product development, especially on the web or software. And the answer to that is we're just going to do our best to keep a finger on the pulse for what the community and what players and dungeon masters are needing to play the game. So that's I know that's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but there is no hard and fast science to this. We're going to continue to try to do our best to do good for the game and for the community, and we're going to see how those scales kind of balance out as we go along. Where do we get a knit beholder? My wife made this for me. This is Zanna Thar. I got that on launch day, and it's probably the last time that I actually cried like real tears, like they were like rolling down my face. I got it. I cried like a baby. But my wife made that. You can check out her site at Saga and Seams on Etsy. And I'm not sure if she can handle the 100 orders that are about to come through, but we'll see what happens. Proto Gaming Network, D&D Beyond, are the character sheets going to auto-update when my players change something? You're talking about in the revamp. The answer to that is definitely yes. We would never do anything that would be destructive to current characters. It will always update appropriately going forward. Let's see. Are there any plans to integrate a map maker? We do not currently have plans to do that at this point in time. I might have time for one more. Is there one more? Uno mas. Uno mas. All right. I don't see anything coming through. Might be typing. Luke, S77. Oh, no. Mahetmet, D&D Beyond. Can we have the ability to upload an image or icon for each of our campaigns? Something similar to quickly set them apart. Absolutely, that sounds like a great idea. Somebody needs to add that to the list, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for, congratulations to all our winners. We will continue to do this each month, and we'll be sharing about what D&D Beyond is doing and what we have plans to do in the near future. We're really excited about where this adventure is taking us, and thank you for being along for the ride. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.